working. I ain't never met a free person. I don't get along with these earthlings. I'm trying to seek purpose, fight for something I believe's worth it. Feel the curse, I'ma reverse it. I don't dream cause I sleep nervous. Yet I keep flirting, face death like a Steve Irwin. Whole heat, I'ma drink thermos. Tell the bartender keep serving. I'm trying to be perfect. Use dirty shit to clean dirt with. Only happy when the weed burning. Traded oxygen to breathe herb in. Till I see curtains, lungs fail and they cease working. There is something that I need urgent. Suffocating, trying to squeeze words in. What would I do with my last breath? Would I yell? Would I cry? Would I laugh? Cause I'm glad that I'm past that mess. Till I pass, never felt that blessed. Even bad breath when you living is better than good breath. When you lack flesh, got a glass chest that I cracked and my lost breath hasn't made it back yet. I'm on my last breath, walking the last step. I'm on the last test, final answer and my last yes. Wonder what I gotta pass next. I'm on my last quest, so much harder than my last track. Math less, hope I can outlast death. Grim Reaper got my address, down on my last cent. Cash spent from a check I don't even have yet from my last rent. Swear this shit has got me mad stressed. I inherited my dad's debt, never got to hear his last breath. And the only reason I ain't passed yet, I'm the first ever and the last left.
I let the record show. I let the tech explode. Put up no weapon show. Pull up the Texaco. Narcos in Mexico. Call up the technical. They know the text will blow. Shout out I'm Plexico. Turn you to vegetable. Body electrical. Acid and alkaline. Body so flexible. The shooters feast like a Uber Eats. Got a group of these suited these scooter beats. While letting the Uzi Aruga speak. An American God up in Cuba eats. The powers they seek and powers that weak. They follow and creeps. Powers that be inherit the world from cowards and sheep. Been to the mountains, top towers and peaks. Flowers and sweets and showered our feet. The light in the desert and shower the sleep. Shower the D's. This not a verse, this our receipts.
What would I do with my last breath? Would I yell? Would I cry? Would I laugh? Cause I'm glad that I'm past that mess. Till I pass, never felt that blessed. Even bad breath when you living is better than good breath. When you lack flesh, got a glass chest that I cracked.
All right. That there's a short version, but that's Last Breath featuring Red Pill and Blue Pill and Cambada off of the Holy Ghost album, Part 2, on all of your streaming platforms. So yeah, it's on repeat on my streaming platform as well. Yeah, it has that song got good replay value. That's something that I must say. You know, the formula, whatever the formula that we use on that song, we did that on purpose. But the replay value on that is crazy. That's a factory. You know. So welcome to another episode 89 of Melanin Monday. We have 89 episodes of Melanin Monday in the bag. Can y'all believe that? We've been doing it. We got 89 Mondays lined up back to back. That's a testament to you know, the consistency of just tapping in. This 89th episode, imagine if this was an HBO series. Imagine if it was a Netflix series. You know, imagine if it was a streaming series, similar to how we watch the season of Watchmen, or we watch a season of The Godfather of Harlem. Well, this is a season of Melanin Monday. You know what I'm talking about? And, you know, seasons change the same way that the winter and the spring comes. So with the change of seasons, we need to begin to change the leaves and other things, you know, because when seasons change, then things should change. So yeah, those seasons are here. But let me do the roll call while we here. Where's the family at? I seen a whole. Let me start from the beginning. All right. We have Mound Valley in the building, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Jersey's in the building. 125 Harlem in the building. Oakland, Seattle. Greensboro, Detroit is in the building. Pittsburgh, LA's in the building. Largo, Compton, Chicago, Louisville, SWATs is in the building. 816 is in the building. Bama's in the building. South Cackalack, St. Louis, Brockton. The Six is in the building. West Philly's in the building. New Jack City's in the building. Texas, Solar's in the building. West Los Angeles is in the building. Jersey in the building. Flint is in the building. Denver's in the building. West Phoenix, 602. Waukegan is in the building. Long Beach is in the building. Glass City, Toledo, Ohio is in the building. London is in the building. Dayton, Ohio is in the building. Mombasa 254 is in the building. Compton Watts is in the building. Detroit is in the building. Philly's in the building. Salute Philly. Harrisburg. Lipso. South Philly's in the building. Leeds is in the building. Wagwan Leeds. Las Vegas is in the building. Salute to everybody's in the building. You know what I mean? Peace to all of the family in the building. Louisiana's in the building. What's good with the family in Louisiana? Salute. Yeah, we will definitely do a show in Flint. My brother Brick the Foundation is in Flint. A few other people. We're coming to Detroit soon anyway, so we could do Flint. We could pop up in Flint real soon. You dig? Shout out to Savannah. When are we coming back to the West Coast? Blue Pill just left the West Coast. You know what I mean? He just left out there. I think we'll be doing the West Coast sometime in like January. What do I think about the Watchmen finale? Well, I thought that was one of the finest hours of television. You know, whoever hopped on the highway, on the Watchmen highway with us and drove on that bus since we started watching it, we told the family from the first episode, we did a video with Brother Rich. The first episode, when they did the Tulsa, Oklahoma shit, we hopped on the YouTube and was like, look, family, you niggas need to pay attention to what's going on right here. You know what I'm talking about? Because they finna go in right now. I could feel it. You know what I'm saying? I know when something is about to happen. And, you know, it didn't fail to deliver. Like, the original Watchmen movie in 2009, that shit hits hard by itself. With Dr. Manhattan, the comedian, that movie alone is a cult classic. They went and did the TV show and improved upon a cult classic movie by tackling social issues, more specifically Tulsa, Oklahoma. That is Black Wall Street. They opened up that shit in a way where a few things I picked up on that. Because number one, nobody's talking about Tulsa, even though the show is over, and even throughout the season, them shining the light on Black Wall Street, it didn't have a continuing narrative. People are not necessarily, you know, engaging in that conversation or whatnot, but the fact that they tied the storyline around the Tulsa, Oklahoma incident, and then, oh yeah, spoiler alert, you know what I'm talking about? If you didn't see the series or you didn't see the episode last night, spoiler alert, you know, we will be divulging details, you know. Check it out after you see this. It'll make sense. But yeah, the fact that she's Dr. Manhattan now, and she, was witnessing the massacres that took place on Black Wall Street, and she's the granddaughter. I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead of it, but the fact that at the end of the series, she becomes Dr. Manhattan, the black woman becomes God on Earth, right? That concept alone in the quantum universe, that concept alone in the quantum realm, you know, that's an interesting concept that I'm like, yo, I could fuck with that. I get what, I could go into 2020 with that. The way that they built up. Remember, this series that you just saw is an origin story about Dr. Manhattan, but the female version, who is the sister, Angela, right? That's what you were watching. You were watching the origin story of the new Dr. Manhattan, who's Regina King in real life, and on the TV show, she's Angela, and she's married to Cal. Y'all can have Queen and Slim. Give me Angela and Cal, my nigga. That's my couple to go into 2020 with, nigga. That's who I'll ride with. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all can have Queen and Slim. No offense. But give me Angela and Cal. Cal with the 40 Cal. Angela Cal came through, was waving his hand and killed all the Nazis. And Angela she was getting busy already just by herself with her mask on. She's Dr. Manhattan right now. Dr. Manhattan, yo, this the writing on this shit is superb. That's what I'm always stressing. Have I lied to you yet? I said it's all in the writing. I made a call on many occasions on this show and others. Yo, where the writers at? Holla at your brother. Am I your brother? Are you getting this transmission, nigga? Are you picking up this signal? You know what I mean? Hit me up because we could do something. It's called a writer's room. That means it's a bunch of us writing, not one or two. You know what I'm saying? Not one person pitching their script, and there's no creative and there's no creative group effort. You know, that shit don't work in this town. You know, there's a collaborative effort that brothers and sisters should take, because everything should not be about one person. This should be a group effort. This is how movements are started. This is how renaissances are started. This is how all kind of, cultural disruptors are created in small groups, of course, or small pockets or small cells or networks, and then it grows exponentially. Like the 100 monkey theory. This is what you see in the Watts when they had the writing club in the Watts, and then they had it with Leroy, with brother Amiri Baraka, called Leroy Jones, and he brought that to Harlem, and then they started writers workshops. And out of writers' workshops, you have Renaissance. And out of Renaissance, you have what you've been asking for as revolution and evolution, amongst other things. But we got to push our pens further past the margins on our loose leaf papers of the shit that everybody's been rapping about for the last 30 years. The Harlem's Writers Guild. Harlem's Writer Guild. The Harlem's Writers Guild. It's all in the pen. But I've said this on many occasions. I'm glad that I'm saying it tonight under this moon and this constellation. I would say it until it comes to fruition, so I don't have a problem with repeating myself. But please, we're on episode 89. If you go back to episode 1 or 2 of Melanin Monday, This is the conversation. And I'm saying that we're going to talk about these shows and whatnot. But before we, I want to really stress the importance of the writing that's going into shows like American Gods, the writing that's going into shows like The Watchmen, the writing that's going into movies like The Matrix. You mean I could go on for days. The writing that's going into movies like The Irishman. Yes, it's the directing. Yes, it's the acting. Yes, it's the actors. But before any of that is even in the equation, let's go into the formula. Let's break this shit down to its very first compound. Before any of that, it's the idea first and foremost, and then it's the process of writing. We don't have Jay Z's. There's no Jay Z motherfucking Jay Z Tarantino's out there where they're freestyling movies. They're writing shit still. Scripts are being written still. So the aspect of the same way when people stress business plans, the same way people stress, when you watch these videos of millionaires and billionaires and even trillionaires, and they're talking about how they get to their bag and whatnot, or how they create things. One thing that you find in common, the reason why you've watched 100 of them and been to 80 seminars and got 500 books and whatnot, but they all say the same goddamn thing. You know what I mean? Spend some time with yourself. Get up early, first and foremost. You know what I'm talking about? Wake up when Horus is rising, with the horizon. Put your intentions into the Horus rising or the horizon. Exercise. Move the blood around, right? And put pen to paper. Write some things down. That's just a few things that they say. And also take a shower. Because cleanliness is next to godliness, right? So when you manifest and when you bring all of these ionosphere, these things in your ionosphere into fruition, you want it to be of a, of a very clean nature. So let's get busy with our imagine. I run into a lot of people in the conscious community when I'm on the road. Niggas got imaginations on the road. You know what I'm talking about? There's some strong imaginations out there. There's some people with some very colorful minds. You would fare well. You would fare way better in the industry that I could help walk you through. It's called the fantasy industry. You know, you need to answer your calling because it's in places like that. How do you think these these comic books that came out of Marvel, Image, Dark Horse, DC, and all of these houses, who do you think are the people that are writing these comic books? Or who are these artists that are drawing and coming up with these characters? These people would be considered to be, weird in today's society, or, you know, um, strange, or misfits. You know what I mean? They wouldn't fit into the normal boxes that they try to put us in. So we collectively, as a people who are very wealthy and rich, look, think about this. In the mountains, in the preserved mountains, the Adirondack mountains, right? The mountainous regions. But remember who we are, right? Molecular, in a molecular sense. Remember who we are chemically. Remember who we are genetically. Remember who we are in our relationship to all of the minerals on this planet, in the mineral kingdom. Now, there's a large contingency, or there's a large population of melanated bodies that they put into the mountainous regions of New York State. I'm speaking about New York right now, especially. It's taking place in places like Pennsylvania, where they're shipping their inmates and the prisoners into the mountains around all these minerals, into towns where these are coal mining towns. These are mining towns, or towns where they're coal miners. They used to dig in the earth for the natural resources. They got them black bodies up there, right? Like batteries, like a whole bunch of Duracells in the cell, feeding off of them, feeding off of the tax money off of them, right? Feeding off of the voting. You know, they have voting perks off of them. They feeding off of their free labor. I was in a minimum, right? They had us in a minimum. They had us riding around cleaning firehouse bathrooms, all kind of shit like that, all kind of chicken George labor, right? You know what I'm saying? And they got brothers and sisters scattered throughout all of these upper regions in the mountains, preserving our people, right? Because when you in the mountains, my guys, you are in a preserved state. You saw in the episode of Watchmen, how did they preserve my dude Oxy? I don't know how to pronounce his whole name at the moment, but you know what I'm talking about. He preserved him in gold. They preserved him in gold. All gold. He was the gold statue that was outside of her goddamn spot the whole time. Yeah, get your gold. Frozen right in time. Right? Definitely. Just like King Tut. Just like in this suit. Fire. So when our brothers and sisters get locked up and they get preserved, they get put in storage, they get put in, they go up into the mountains and they breathe non-polluted air, right? They get to work out. They get to relax. If you go somewhere and you know that you got 10 years to be there, you ain't in no rush. You're relaxing. You know what I'm talking about? You could start reading, or you could start drawing. You could start writing movie scripts. You could start writing code. You could learn code and start writing code while you're doing your 10. You could learn all of the HTML languages while you're doing your 20. Matter of fact, you could learn all kind of intricate computer languages while you're doing your 80. Because all you got is time to learn. There's something called lynda.com, right? It's called lynda.com. And LinkedIn bought it and whatnot. So LinkedIn and Lynda is now one. Lynda has all of the tutorials for every single thing that you would ever want to do inside of the sphere of technology. So the plus of people, 2 million plus of us being well preserved in places where they're actually freezing in time. Like I said, I just came back from the hood. I was at the funeral for Poop Man. Remember, previous shows I was talking about, I was watching all of these mobster movies. I was watching all of these documentaries about the underworld. I went to sleep with that shit on my mind. I spoke it into existence because it didn't take it but 1 week. I was back in the underworld. You know what I'm talking about? Back in the underworld. And people in the underworld are preserved. I don't know. They drinking gold or something because they still look like the niggas when we all still look like we teenagers. And they not eating the same vegetables that I'm eating. They're not at the same lectures that I'm at. They still in the club. They still chasing things, you know. They still are active, you know, in underworld activities. And 80% of everybody looked like we was just teenagers still, maybe a little taller, or maybe with a little bit of wear and tear. But definitely, I'm in my 40s, so everybody damn near was in their 40s, and everybody looked like they was in their mid 20s and early 30s. So you got people that's coming home that's doing 28 and 30. Like 2019 and 2020 is going to be the return of the brothers. It's the return of a whole generation that's been going for a very long time. One of the powerful things about that, though, if you pay attention to what you're seeing and the dynamics that's being shown, is that a lot of those brothers are coming back with knowledge of self, right? These are heavy hitters. When I talk about underworld shit, these are movers and these are heavy hitters. You know, they've done a lot of they who these stories is based on. You know, they who these stories are based on, and they get in their mind right. So when I see that, I'm like, yo, that means that the hood is about to. Everybody's gonna have their mind right, if they don't already, if they not already on the path to that. You know, yeah, the time has definitely been warped. You already know that. In that episode of The Watchmen, the last episode, it was a dope episode. Like the writing on it was fire. Um, I like how the whole, the arc that the whole story took, the first season. Because remember, there's an article by the creator of the show. He's saying that they're not necessarily planning a season two, but if he gets something that he could write a season two about, then he's gonna jump into it. See, I don't know how to take if that's something that if that's something that, if he's being facetious or if that's serious, because in my mind, if I just wrote a black woman becoming a god and as the last episode in the season finale where she's stepping on the water. And he also said in the interview that if anybody thinks that he would have not made her walk on water and to fall in the water as if that Dr. Manhattan lied to her and didn't set it up to where he put all of his power in that egg, then he said that the viewer who is thinking that is a nincompoop because it doesn't even make sense. It completely violates and goes against everything that was written for the whole season. You know. So in this series, family, for those who have not watched this series, or for those who don't understand the series, and when they watch it, because you probably have to watch it maybe twice to really understand it. One of the things that I was saying is there's a podcast that the creators of the show actually have. It's 3 episodes. It's on HBO. Go listen to the podcast. They're gonna walk you through what's going on with the show, and then I think I did a breakdown. I'm gonna do a further breakdown on American Gods Part 3. That's gonna be January 4th. The link will be in the description down below. You could click on it and take you to the Eventbrite. It's going to be an online lecture, and we're going to dig in real deep. But yeah, if I just wrote a season finale where a black woman has become a god, so family, even if you haven't seen the show, this show is depicting later in the later episodes. First, a black, because in this show there's a god that's walking on the earth, right? And his name is Dr. Manhattan. So in this universe, like this is not the Marvel universe, this is not the DC universe. This is a universe that Alan Moore, who wrote a graphic novel called The Watchmen, that was in, I think it was in DC, right? DC Comics, if I'm correct. but it's a standalone, superhero universe. And there's one God in that universe, and it's Dr. Manhattan. So in this story, in this new incarnation of the Watchmen series that's different from the movie, later in the episodes, come to find out that Dr. Manhattan plays a central role in the story all along. Yes, blue gods like in India. I put the post on my IG a few months ago about the blue gods, the Happy twins, Krishna, the blue gods, and now Dr. Manhattan. Okay? So in Dr. Manhattan, the Watchmen movie, the Watchmen graphic novel, all of the and the Avatar Blue as well. All of the Watchmen original up until this HBO series that the majority European, comic book fan, fandom type of people, how they fan out over everything Marvel and they fan out over all of that Comic Con shit. Well, there's a fandom movement for Watchmen, right? So now these same fandoms are seeing the possibility of Dr. Manhattan being a black man and a black woman. So they're kind of uncomfortable. Then their superhero, another one of their icons, another one of their superheroes, it gets revealed in this series. Hooded Justice is a black man the whole time. They thought it was a white man because the Hooded Justice never reveals his identity. But when you look through the hood, he has white eyes, right? But come to find out in this series, they reveal that it's a black man and a gay black man at that, a bisexual black man. Okay? The shit goes, yeah, it's a rabbit hole. Pause. Who painted his eyes white when he put his hood on, but he's really a survivor from Tulsa, Oklahoma, who saw his parents murdered and his whole community decimated in Black Wall Street. And then he becomes Hooded Justice, which is a vigilante, right? A vigilante superhero. His granddaughter is Angela, who we're talking about right now. Angela, and her husband's name is Cal, who's a black man. Come to find out, Dr. Manhattan came to this planet, right? Because he was banished from this planet. He was sitting on Jupiter. Who remember Orthodoxy? The bars that I got when I said that you niggas are stupider looking sitting on something stranded on, yeah, you stranded on Jupiter. Yeah. Anyway, but instead of him being on Jupiter, he came back to the Earth, and then he took the form of a dead. There was a this he encountered Angela in the bar, right? It's the episode called "A God Walks into a Bar," and everybody, it was like Dr. Manhattan Day, so everybody was worshiping Dr. Manhattan. They were celebrating him and everything. But he came to this earth like how they show in American Gods that there are gods walking this planet. The concept of gods being human beings in a human form. The concept of the gods being on this planet now in these days and times, reincarnating in human form, being human beings, actual flesh and blood human beings, but mentally asleep to the fact that they do have that third eye, that black dot that they show you is the logo or the symbol of Dr. Manhattan, which they said is the atom, which is the circle with the dot in the middle. But if anybody studies Kabbalah, right? If anybody understands what Kabbalah is, if anybody ever studies any kind of esoteric science, then you know the science behind the black dot, and you know the science behind the fact that God negated itself into existence, and then the fact that the dot is the existence of God itself, and then everything builds around that. Yes, pi. So in the story of Hiram Abiff, the black god is the African. In the story of Hiram Abiff, the African god. This was broken down by Elihu Pleasant Bay, in one of his in a book that he put out. This is one of the illest books that you could get on the Moorish science. It's written scientifically, but he broke down the fact that yes, the golden ratio. Yes, Watchmen is playing now on HBO. It's on HBO. You said, what about Pi? The logo. If you Google logo of Dr. Manhattan, you will get the symbol that I'm talking about. They say it's the atom symbol, but what it is, it's the black dot, the actual symbol of existence itself of God. The black dot. The dot denotes the existence of God that negated itself into this existence. Okay, as a dot, and then from the dot you have two dots, and then that grows, and then you have reality as you see it. So in the Masonic ritual of Hiram Abiff, the black god, the African god, is asleep. He got hit over the head by the thugs, by the three thugs, and they put him into amnesia. So Dr. Manhattan, or Cal for that sense, right? He was a black man who was dead, right? He was a knuckle dragger. He was dead. When we are not awake, and before we take our red pill, we are considered to be dead. The vibrations we're considered to be dead. Before they take you into the Nation of Islam and clean you up, you're considered to be dead. Before they take you into many different religions, spiritual practices, secret orders, Masonic orders, you're considered to be dead. So Cal was a black man in the morgue, and he asked Regina King to he asked Angela, pick out a body for me to, basically incarnate as, or pick out a body for me to, reanimate. And she picked out the black man, and he reanimated in black man, and he becomes the black man now, Dr. Manhattan. So Dr. Manhattan, he becomes the black man, and he's him now. So now there's a god, right? Dr. Manhattan is a blue god, right? Who's, all atoms basically and whatnot. And then he becomes, Lazarus. He raises, Hiram out of his shallow grave, because Hiram does not know that he is God. The black man, the black God, does not know that he or she is God, right? That third eye is decalcified. They took that away. It's gone. We don't have that activated. We cannot see inside into the universe within, into the innerverse. We have not accepted the fact that we are tapped into the one, not in the ego sense, but in the we go sense. You know what I mean? That we are all part of a divine energy, a divine light, a divine source, and it's negating itself. It's like fragments of a shattered mirror, and we are shards or diamonds or crystals of that said shattering. And we're all having these different experiences, picking up this different data, downloading all of these different things that are taking place, agreeing to physical reality, even though it's on a quote unquote flimsy, it's not standing on a solid ground. So the law of physicality does not even stand on a solid ground, because at any minute a motherfucker could walk through the wall on you. You understand? And then all of that shit goes out the window. You could see a motherfucker float by on you. That's where we're going into 2020. You know what I mean? So this whole shit is standing on a wave right now. It's not on a solid ground. It's on a wave, and we bend waves, and you know what I mean? We bend spoons, and we bend waves, and we create what it is that we want to create, that people call reality. You understand? And that's where we're at with it. and we utilize the chaos magic, and we utilize the moving of the energy, and we utilize the moving of the sound and the music, and the moving of the people and the bodies, and the moving of the shifting of the wave, because waves shift. You could live in a city that was popping, 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 and then nigga, it's not popping no more. It's popping over there. And then people navigate like birds and ducks and whatnot, and they follow the magnetic wave. You know what I mean? I remember being in New York, and the wave went to Atlanta. You know what I mean? Or we helped bring the wave to Atlanta. And then we were bringing it other places, like in Miami and stuff like that. You got to understand what this is. So the TV show is showing you that there are two characters that have become God. Two other people tried to become God, right? This is reading between the lines of, because this thing could be unpacked many different ways. I'm gonna let KT really eat its food, when he decodes it. But I'm gonna break it down in the American Gods too, 3 series. But the way that I'm seeing it is the KKK dude, who is the Cyclops dude, Senator King, right? He was trying to become he was trying to become the white power version of Dr. Manhattan. He set up a whole scheme to steal his powers. Angela was like, yo, don't do it. Once again, that scene, the black woman trying to save somebody who's her enemy and was trying to kill her. That was kind of suspect. But anyway, he died. He tried to take the power. He couldn't. That shit turned him into soup. It turned him into soup. And then they killed off the rest of the white supremacists. They had the whole. Think about if you was able to run down. You remember in The Irishman where they was having the dinner for the Irishman towards the end of the movie, and all of the heavy hitters was in the building. They had the mayor in the building. Well, picture that when it comes to the top tier management of a white terrorism group power structure. So they had the whole power structure in one room, and they wiped them out with a laser. I was like, oh shit, you know, that's some good writing. I want to give me more. Let me see, and you know, then the Asian, right? I like the aspect of the Asian, right? I like the subtleties of what I was picking up on different levels. Like I said, because the show is written on it could be broken down on many different levels. But the aspect of the China, the Asian, the Chinese, the Asiatic and whatnot, being the one who was, the quote unquote mad scientist bastard daughter, right? She was picking up the pace. She was doing the dirty work. She was doing the experiments. She was trying to find the Higgs boson, the God gene, and they were trying to take it for themselves. Henceforth, them being in Africa, what the fuck are they digging for? Other than all of the natural resources, they out there looking for something else though. You know. Any outlets to see the joint for free. If you get a fire stick, you know what I'm talking about? But if they was going hard, yeah, I think you gotta. I don't know how to get no tour. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to get access to no videos online anymore like that. She came up with the 42 billies. Unlock beast on the fire stick. Yeah, you gotta get your fire stick game up. The smartest man in the world, aka the wise beast of the garden. Yes, of course. and the China girl, the Chinese woman, right, the Asian, is the daughter of the wise beast of the garden, the smartest man in the world, the wise beast of the garden. You know what I mean? She's his illegitimate daughter. She's his illegitimate daughter. She's the Asian or the Chinaman, the Mongolian, being, or the Eurasian, you know, being that offspring. But it was an interesting narrative. She tried to be God. That wasn't working for her. She got bodied, you know. Okay, a God walks in a bar, not a bar, a bar. My corrections, you know. So yeah, I like what I was seeing. Um, the episode is called "See How They Fly." That's the season finale. It's called "See How They Fly." Um, and like I said, "See How They Fly" was different than all of the other episodes because they focused on the comic book mostly in the ending episode. They did a lot of, there's still a lot of open ending things, but they were focusing on Dr. Manhattan. They were focusing on my dude, uh, Adrian Veidt, right? They were focusing on Hooded Justice, of course, and other people, you know. But yeah, it's definitely interesting, you know. And they wrapped up the whole series, in my humble opinion, you know, in a good way. They left things to be, built upon if they decide that they want to start a new season. But they wrapped it up cool, you know. They wrapped it up cool. And the whole thing is like a who done it. But like I said, what about Lube Man? That's right. Well, Lube Man is, that's what I'm saying. Those are the things, those are the eggs, and those are the story arcs that they could build upon when the next season pops up. At the end of the series, that Angela, the son was able to see that Angela was the hooded, the hero, right? The nun with the motherfucking gun, you know. Um, the son was able to, the son discovered that she was really the Angela, and then the children are gonna discover that their mother is possibly a god who could walk on water. But the reason why there's this scene where Dr. Manhattan is walking on water, right? And he tells her in that scene, pay attention to what I'm doing because you're gonna need to know this later. Remember, he said time doesn't exist to him in a linear fashion. It exists at the same time. The past, the present, and the future are all taking place at once, right? That's what he was saying. So he knew when he was going to make his transition, right? But he left himself behind in an egg, right? That she was to swallow, and then she becomes him again. That sounds like birth to me. I'm God, right? I'm gonna leave the planet. I'm leaving. I know when I'm leaving. There's people who know when they're leaving. if you tap into becoming immortal and you get into psychedelics and you get into things like plant medicine, nigga, you know when you're leaving. All right? You understand when you get on your Dr. Manhattan shit. You know when you leave and you set it up and you leave yourself behind in an egg, bro. Do you know what that means? You recreate yourself. And who's going to give birth to you? Angela, your wife. Right? I'm just saying on a broken down. That's what I was seeing. Dr. Manhattan was in an egg, and she went into the water. So that's he's just on a subtle plane. He impregnated her. He gave her his seed, and now she's God. Now you're God. You give birth to a God. You God. You know, you give birth to a God, then you definitely God. You know, eggs feature very prominently through the whole series, right? Eggs. They had a lot of Easter eggs and actual eggs featured prominently into the series, you know? So it was a good build up, the series. Like I said, it started out about it started out as a who done it that was focusing on a bizarre murder of a police chief, right? Who basically was fighting up against a white supremacy um, organization called the Seventh Cavalry, right? Who were out here bodying police. And from there on, this thing turned into um, a very well written, very well modern. They were able to tackle a lot of modern day themes about race. They were touching on a lot of things that is not necessarily touched upon, you know, in these shows that we don't give a damn about, you know what I mean, or don't do us too much good in a sense of narrative. Like everybody's talking about Love and Hip Hop New York, but I understand that that might fit into the narrative, right? Of what people, because you can't negate that people, they've been watching that for about a decade. So that shit is like life to them. So you can't necessarily judge people for being engaged in a more spicier version of a soap opera. That's what these shows are. You know what I'm talking about? They're soap operas for BET. They're BET versions of a soap opera. That's what the reality shows have turned into. You got your villains, you know. You got Susan Lucci in them. You know what I mean? You got the evil strippers and whatnot. It's all kind of shit going on. Yeah, the BT General Hospital. Drinks is flying. You know what I mean? Like, you know, this shit is like a broke Dallas. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? But shows like American Gods, shows like Watchmen, shows like Godfather of Harlem. To me, in my humble opinion, as somebody who is not a big advocate of television, but for those who watch television, and I'm aware that there's a lot who do, well, this conversation, is directed towards you. But to me, those are some good shows because those are conversational starters. Those get you thinking. Those help with tying into certain kind of histories. It opens up conversation to go further into different things like the involvement. For instance, it introduced Godfather Harlem introduces the involvement of the Italian mafia with, you know, disseminating and flooding black, melanated and black and Latino neighborhoods with heroin, right? Something that they say they don't play a part of, and something that they try to act like, it's not something that, this is not sanctioned by the bosses, right? But that's just one side of the story, okay? The other side of the story, will be able to show receipts of something called the French Connection and the involvement of the Italian mafia, right, as being the suppliers in a pipeline where the dope, where the heroin was coming through Morocco, of all places, you know, and other French controlled ports, and it was being disseminated in black neighborhoods, and the mafia had a hand in that. So they on the supply line, they might not be on the corners, or they might not be supplying the bricks, but that was a big part of their business in those days. So the Godfather of Harlem kind of exposes that, and I think that our people should do more research into the hands that were behind, you know, the poison that flooded our communities, and if this was in fact conspiratorial against our community, was this done intentionally, or was this just a good business move, or did it happen by mistake? You dig what I'm saying? These are the things that we need to know going forward. And when we tell our history, when we tell our babies what it is and what it's not, when we tell our case to the world, if need be, because when you telling your child something about their illustrious history and who they are versus who they're not, it is telling it to the world, because they the ones that's going to carry it to the rest of the world when you gone, you know. So we owe it to them to stand on the truth and to continue to rearrange, you know what I'm talking about, and change the narrative, because you know you should be able to control what's being said, and who's, and what to do with what's being said, you know. So I'm definitely inspired, you know, by a lot of things that I was able to see creatively in 2019 going into 2020. Um, I definitely know what sparks my interest, what I have a passion for, versus what I don't have a passion for, you know. And that's what I'm gonna run. I'm running with that, you know. And that's what I'm gonna use as my paintbrush to paint. You dig? There's a story that came out about Orlando Bloom being fired from American Gods third season. It hasn't come out yet. That is all this a show that's on the channel Stars, the same channel that you see the TV show Power, which I do not watch, and for no personal reasons, I just haven't gotten around to catching it. But he got on Instagram. Let me pull up the Instagram so I can read this shit, because he was trying to testify. Orlando Bloom, he was trying to testify. He was saying that that they wanted to silence his character, Anansi, Orlando Jones, not Bloom, Orlando Jones. Pause. Right. So Orlando Jones was the character Mr. Nancy, which is a play on Anansi. And Anansi, my friends, is the West African god, right? Hold on. It's acting slow. Give me a minute. Yeah, I know it's mad late where I'm at too, right? This is some graveyard shifting right here. But I won't leave y'all hanging on a Monday. You know what I'm talking about? I did a 5-hour taping with Brother Rich, Father Rich. And that's gonna come out. That's gonna be fire. Look at us. We was shitting yet. We was going, look, talking about Godfather in Harlem. Right now, hold on. Do you know the Professor James Smalls? I say Godfather Harlem, right? Professor James Smalls is a contributing writer on Godfather of Harlem because Professor James Smalls was working with Malcolm and he knows Bumpy. You dig? So he's a legend, right? He's a legend. So we pay homage to him. We was chilling, we was dripping yesterday. That's at the vaccine debate. Yeah, that one was hard. That vaccine debate was hard to watch, y'all. You dig? They put pause on wax, on whack 100. You know what I mean? Yeah, we like them candles over here. You know what I'm talking about? Hashtag icon. This is what icons do. Hold on.
Motherfuckers say they love Mr. Nancy. They don't. I'm not gonna name names, but the new season 3 showrunner is Connecticut born and Yale educated, so he's very smart. And he thinks that Mr. Nancy's angry, get shit done is the wrong message for Black America. That's right, this white man sits in that decision-making chair, and I'm sure he has many Black BFFs who are his advisors and made it clear to him that if they did not get rid of that angry God, Mr. Nancy, he'd start a Denmark VC uprising in this country. I mean, what else could it be? To the wonderful Neil Gaiman, thank you for allowing me to play this role, for writing this wonderful book, for opening the door for me to become a writer-producer on season 2 of American Gods. Thank you, sir. To the magnificent Brian Fuller and the incredible Michael Green, thank you for creating this series and for allowing me also to become Mr. Nancy. I hope the fans enjoyed it because really this is about you. I hope you loved it as much as I loved doing it. And on September 10th, 2018, I was fired from American Gods. There will be no more Mr. Nancy. Don't let these motherfuckers say they love Mr. Nancy. They don't. I'm not going to name names, but the new season 3 showrunner is Connecticut born and Yale educated, so he's very smart. And he thinks that Mr. Nancy's angry, get shit done is the wrong message for Black America. That's right, this white man sits in that decision-making chair, and I'm sure he has many Black BFFs who are his advisors and made it clear to him that if they did not get rid of that angry God, Mr. Nancy, he'd start a Denmark VC uprising in this country. I mean, what else?
Hold on, let me see something.
I am not a god. In the sense that I can tolerate exploitation, oppression, and repression, my worshippers know freedom ain't free. They know the most potent weapon of control for the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. They know slavery is not a condition. Slavery is a cult. Human trafficking is a cult. Slavery got to rebrand like motherfucking the alt-right. and snatched. Another one gone. Every 30 seconds, another chocolate brown, caramel yellow, high yellow, red bone refugee girl with melanin in her skin gets snatched. Every 30 seconds.
Each day.
We have lived long enough to know these troubles are timeless. Suffering is not secret.
And moral law is final. Sooner or later, they all lay before me. War need not be the answer.
My queen, the world assumes white people are naturally good. So when something bad happens, it's a good person doing a bad thing. They assume black people are naturally bad. When something good happens, it's only a matter of time before that animal's true nature rears its ugly head. And to make matters worse, these dazzling new plantation owners built a pipeline to take our children from school to prison quicker than a cut can bleed. And the lucky ones go from school to the NFL, where they don't even let them niggas take a knee. They've been programmed from birth with shitty food options, contaminated drinking water, gun violence, police brutality, and trauma after trauma after trauma. PTSD, no therapy. Missing, no Amber Alert. Alone. Snatched. Another one gone.
I hear you, brother. And I hear them. I hear each voice. And I write.
And to make matters worse, these dazzling new plantation owners built a pipeline to take our children from...
Yeah, my guy goes in, you know. You know. He goes in. There is a producer that he's talking about. Yeah, there's a producer from Fremantle. His name is Fremantle. Yeah, Fremantle. He's a guy who is known for hating on. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, Orlando smoked that role though. Let's be clear. He bodied that. So it's a shame that they did that and didn't get that man his proper his proper credit. Black girls in Cleveland get snatched at the bus stops here trying to get to school. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. And they got gangs in the hood. And there's so-called dudes out here killing and dying over blocks and corners that's, named after slave masters and people that don't even look like them. But children, they feel it's so sweet that they could come into neighborhoods and snatch the children. That's a collapsing of the social structure, the societal village, the proverbial village structure is broken if that's what's taking place. Oh yeah, I don't got watched at the debate. There's nothing to even say about that. He got tsunami, like. Yeah, I heard the gangs are doing it, the kidnapping. So the same gang that you would need to protect you has been compromised to the point where they're the ones kidnapping. So this is a real, you know, this is this is something else. Is the debate recorded? I think it is. Yeah, I believe it was being recorded. It was actually being live streamed. So there should be a recording of it. You'll get to see it. Um, it was very interesting. This was something that was new to me. I walked into the audience. I walked into the building, and 70% of the audience was European. And I mean European, like white. They had Jews with the Goldilocks and all the Hasidics and other people of European descent. They were real heavy in the building. Real heavy in the building. And our people were mixed into the audience. Shout out to everybody that was there yesterday at the debate, the vaccine debate. I can't even say that on boob tube because they be tripping with this dude. Yeah. So, but it was more Europeans than it was us, and they went in. The Europeans was going in with their information. They was drilling. You know, I got to see how it was good. It was good to see because it was a good way to end the decade. It was cool. We all in school, you know what I mean? This is class, y'all. So the way that the Great Divine is interesting. The way everything is wrapping up on the season finale of this decade. They had us. They had me in a Alhambra with mad white folk. Right. Look at the irony of that. Right. And I'm able to sit back and listen to Ankh and other people from our community on the stage with other people from that community. So I was able to have a reference point now because it's rare that you get to see these different energies or frequencies and how they play and work off of each other. So I was able to measure and see, you know, certain things. It's all assessment, you know. It's all assessment. You could take whatever out of it that you know, that you please. So the preferred, you know, delivery that was resonating with me, right? The preferred delivery that was resonating with me was the way that the information was given, just with the information and not the fact and not the emotions, right? Just giving that straight information, facts, right? Without the spectacle, without the extra sauce. Because sometimes that works, but then sometimes that doesn't. You know, sometimes that's effective, and then sometimes it's not. So I was more adapting, and I was more resonant. I was more resonating with the approach to just give the fucking facts, right? And that was the difference. Cause when the brother came up, he was giving out emotions. He was he was playing a race card. He was trying to be a spectacle. He was exhibiting spectacle behavior, right? And he wasn't sticking to the facts. And I was able to see from an outsider's view, right? I was able to see from a bird's eye view, you know, that's that shit I don't like. You know what I'm talking about? I was like, that's that shit I don't like. That's not what I'm about. You know? overall, it was a great experience. You know, the last time we were in the building and it was people of that background, there was a debate between, I think his name was Jeff Rothstein, and he got washed. You know, did KT get an invite to the panel? No, he did not. He did not get an invite to a panel, nor did he get a segment to even speak. You know, he didn't even get an opportunity to even get up there and speak, to deliver some kind of intelligence in a room full of people from all backgrounds of life who just want to hear some intelligence. They was just there to gather intelligence, you know. What I didn't walk away with out of the whole situation was loopholes. They ain't too well. They didn't give out too many loopholes when it comes to solutions, what to do, how to stop this thing. Um, I heard today that they stopped a vote in New Jersey about mandatory vaccines because what I was told is that this whole vaccination push is not about the children, it's about the adults. They want to make mandatory vaccination for us, the adults, okay? It's about insurance money. It's about all kind of, you know, it's that big pharma bullshit. So what they're pushing for is mandatory vaccinations for the adults. We have to be more, you know, we have to understand that if they have, it's the same argument that they have with women and the right of the body. If they have rights over your body, you are not free. If they have rights over your body, you are not free. Bottom line. If they could mandatorily put poison in your body, bro, you are not free. Let's be very clear. Yeah, Riz and them shut down something in New Jersey. They shut down mandatory vaccinations in the courthouses in Jersey. Rizza Islam was out there today. That was a victory for the anti-vaxxers. Shame on anybody who's on the pro side of putting poison in our babies, bro, and then supporting the government to put poison in the adults. That nigga, that's highly treasonous at this point, beyond suspect. It's highly treasonous. Nobody had an argument to support why you should go and get vaccinated that was tangible, that made any goddamn sense, that the people were reacting to. It's an abomination. You know what I mean? They're ruining children's lives by giving them autism and whatnot. They're taking away the joy. They're taking away the light. They're taking away creativity and other things, you know. And this needs to be, and then they're covering their tracks so where you can't sue them, you can't get any kind of retribution, you can't fight them. So this, you remember, the vaccination industry is the most, in the lobbying industry, that's the number one lobby, is big vax, right? Big pharma, the number one lobby, the one at the top. So translation, they spending a lot of money to make a lot of people to look the other way. And your celebrities are not going to join the fight because they do not want to commit career suicide, because all of them have 357 bulldogs to their head. Every time they take a roll, every time they do anything out of line, they pull that trigger. It's called Russian roulette, and it translates to career suicide. And they've seen many of their colleagues get their heads blown off or blow their heads off, both literally and figuratively speaking. Figuratively speaking. Okay? Career suicide. They're only doing movies for Netflix and shit like that now. So all we have to do is focus on, you know, on what needs to be focused on. And there's a lot that needs to be focused on. There's a lot. We have as a people, if we collectively add up, we got about 99 problems. But 99 problems, right? For gods walking the earth, the Dr. Manhattans, you know, the doctors amongst us, we have 99 scholars. You got 99 problems, we got a scholar for every problem. You got 99 problems, we got 99 lectures. You know what I'm talking about? You got 99 problems, we got 99 algorithms. Like, we got solutions. There's an opportunity for us to collectively shine on some Dr. Manhattan shit. Blue with a blue light, my nigga, blue UV. We could have an infinite shine. Big drip. You know what I'm talking about? Big drip. We could shine because the opportunity to create solutions is in our hands. And nobody can say that it's not. The universe is conspiring for our success. The motherfucking universe created 3D printing machines for you niggas. The universe created laser cut machines for you niggas. It created vinyl cutting machines for you niggas. Wood cutting, wood carving. You know what I'm saying? 4D machines. It created GitHub for you niggas. It created Fiverr. It created Alibaba for you niggas. What are you talking about? What are we saying here? And shout out to everybody that got back at me when I introduced the concept of bulk shopping as a people. Shop for power. You know what I mean? Not for prestige. You know, when you go somewhere, and I'm speaking mostly to my clothing designers, because as a wholesaler, when I go to the wholesaler, I don't want to go with $300 or $500. I would rather go with $5,000. We need to learn how to operate and shop as blocks. You know what I mean? We celebrate the concept of taking over the block or locking down the block, but niggas don't want to move as shopping blocks. You don't want to move as a motherfucking voting block. You know what I'm talking about? You don't want to move like that, nigga. You don't want to move and build this shit block for block. So we could put all of our eggs in one basket. And whenever we go, and you could scale this concept with anything that you're doing. You put your eggs, like, you know, when you go and you do bottle service in the club, and everybody puts their $500 in the bag, or their a few $100s in the bag, and then boom, you count it up, and you be like, yo, give me 50 rosés with the sparkles and 10 Hennessy's, and you looking like you looking like nigga Obama in the hood that night. Well, utilize that same concept and go to a wholesale district, nigga. Go to Chinatown. Go to wherever you could buy shit in bulk and shop like that, and you will have your early becomings to the concept of being a boss, or being you know, being an owner, because we're going into the age of ownership. So there's steps to become an owner. And if you want to take those steps, I'm saying take it with us. I'm saying let's go. I'm saying we could do this shit in no amount of time. I'm saying what are you waiting for? You're not gonna have that fiat forever. That's a fact. If I know anything, it's the fact that that fiat is not gonna even be it's not even gonna be worth the paper that it's printed on forever. So there are opening and emerging markets that are out there. Get off the porch, my niggas. Let's hop off the porch. We gotta hop on these planes. You know what I mean? We gotta get stamped up. You know what I'm talking about? You gotta get stamped up. We gotta go places and make things happen. Cause we are in America, the ADOS, the FBA, right? And my niggas who came here on a fucking banana boat who live in Banana Republic. Because I don't give a fuck what nobody say. You're not gonna stun on the Haitians. You're not gonna stun on the Jamaicans. You're not gonna stun on. You can't stun on them. Their contributions to Brooklyn culture, Flatbush culture, you know what I'm talking about? Crown Heights culture, Bed-Stuy culture, you know what I mean? Out of town culture is undeniable. We can't start on the Puerto Ricans. We can't start on some Dominicans. We can't start on the Puerto Ricans who contributed to hip hop and played their part and added on with the graffiti. They spun on their head so you could. So all I'm saying is we have a very vast culture where hip hop, if you choose to be part of hip hop culture, then you spreading very wide. You're spreading very far. You expand your empire to a place of infinity, damn near. But for the brothers and sisters who identify as the children, the bastards of the party, the children of the corn, the 80s and 90s and 70s babies, wherever the fuck you from, because I don't like getting caught up in the semantics, nigga. Nigga, you personally, right, have the potential, right? The potential at first. Then you could tap into the probabilities, but you have the potential to do something monumental with the time that you are here, you know, experiencing this limited clock or this limited tick, tick, tick. Remember the clock in the Watchmen? Tick, tick. You all, everybody has a limited clock, nigga. The Rolly is going to stop spinning eventually. You understand? Even though it don't tick tock, nigga, that hand will stop spinning one day. You know what I mean? Like I said, like they showed you with Dr. Manhattan, he knew when he was leaving. He wasn't all boohooing about it. What was he doing? He was preparing for his trip while he was here. What did the Cometians do? What did all great civilizations do? They prepared for that trip while they were here. While they were here, they were preparing for the afterlife. While they were here, they were doing sacred rituals with not pharmaceuticals, with hallucinogens, plant-based, right? Plant-based medicines to initiate themselves into shamanistic rites. They were initiating themselves into spiritual, what you call it, practices and whatnot, African traditional systems, right? They were initiating themselves because the first initiation is through the quote unquote drugs, or the first initiation is through the hallucinogenics. The first initiation is through the shamanistic rituals. Nigga, the initiation is if you could take this batch of mushrooms and go and talk to God, nigga. The initiation is go and lick that toad, nigga. The initiation is, you know what I'm saying? Go and drink that plant medicine. You know? Like they had what's my guy was eating flowers and shit, T'Challa. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that's the initiation. And then you go into the underworld or the other world, or this, yeah, that's that DMT. You know what I'm talking about? But the Bufu as well. 5 MDM. That's the shrooms, the shroomies, the Smurfs. You know, we got to talk in code these days. You dig? Let me show you something. In case you don't know, this is the new YouTube policy. Number one, we got to start talking in Pig Latin, right? We got to learn Pig Latin so the algorithms don't pick up on what we talking about. But y'all can read. You don't need me to say it out loud. But this is the new hate speech. Does it say anything about not talking about black people who have been getting shot and whatnot by the white terrorists? Does it say anything about that? Does it say anything about, you know, talking down against our women? Oh, okay. Not a protected group. All right. So, what I'm going back to what I was saying, that all of these all of these different civilizations, they prepared themselves for their transitions or their next place or their next level or their next mission while they were still alive, right? They carved monuments in their, you know, they got paintings done of them. They wrote books. They preserved their history by carving it in stone, by putting their stories in books. You know, some of them, like Walt Disney, created characters that exist way past, you know, his as long, his lifespan. You feel me? That's a level of immortalization. Like, that's tapping into, some real powerful stuff. No, I didn't see the show with dude from Aquaman. I didn't see that yet. You know, I didn't check that out. But yeah, I want to just announce that on Saturday in the DMV, which is in Baltimore, DMV, I am going to be closing out the year by having a lecture, a powerful lecture with my brother Wesley Muhammad, right? And it is titled The Weaponization of Hip Hop, all right? The Weaponization of Hip Hop, right? Saturday 21st at the Pleasant Hope Baptist Church, East Belvedere, Baltimore. For more information, call that number, 30 at the door, 25 in advance. Come and witness history, all right? Brother Wesley Muhammad, Brother Red Pill. It'll be the first time that we're doing some teaching together. We've done blog talk together, but this will be our first lecture. Hell yeah, I know we're gonna need more than 3 hours. You know, it's gonna be a warm up. It ain't even really gonna be a full going. You know, I'm a jam a whole bunch of information into that hour and change. Do I promise you that much? But we're gonna do part two. We'll link back up. You know what I mean? But that's a good way to close out 2019. Put it in a bag. You feel me? And then on the top of 2020, we'll cook up with some American God Part 3. So, the kitchen is looking real healthy these days. You dig? We got some good work on the stove. But I'm about to tap out, y'all. You know what I mean? I got work to do. It's mad late. You know what I'm talking about? I just wanted to tap in and let the family know that we good over here. And, come and pull up and support us on Saturday on the 21st. Yes, Rise and Power to Papa Wu of the Wu-Tang, Papa Wu. Alright? Freedom Allah. He also checked into the ancestor realm. Papa Wu is with the ancestors. You dig? So, you know, the legends are going home. You feel me? The legends are going home, but it's okay because they preparing the place for us. Like, I walk, you know what I mean? I'm good because I already know, you know, that my team is already, I got a strong team on the other side, you know, and I know that they working their magic on this side. You know what I'm talking about? So it's like being plugged into a whole new power source. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, make sure to pay homage to anybody who becomes an ancestor, who's on the front line doing the work. Make sure to pay homage to them by saying their names, either edifying their work, supporting their works. If they wrote a book, buy it. If they made something, if they designed something, buy it and store it. Everybody who you see in these days and time, they're all going to be written about in the future. Everybody's going to be a legend. So you might as well take advantage of it right now. I'm telling you, don't fuck this one up. You know, don't mess this one up. So with that being said, I'll holla. Peace.